Hey guys, it's Mr. Collins with kind of a preview of what we're getting into next. And this is actually a problem from the worksheet we've been working on Monday and Tuesday in class. It's a problem I didn't get to. It was kind of a bonus problem. You can see I have a star next to number 6. And again, it's synthetic division, except what we're getting into is now, can we do synthetic division with not nice numbers? And so what I mean by not nice numbers, can you use irrational numbers like roots or radicals? Or could I use imaginary numbers? And the answer to both is yes. So you see this problem here, we gave you a quartic polynomial of 4th degree, and we told you what one of the zeros is. So if we know that's a 0, we know we can do synthetic division, and we should get a remainder of 0. So I'm going to take you through the steps. The numbers, I'll warn you, they get a little bit ugly. So take your time. Feel free to pause the video at any point or rewind a little bit. That's kind of the beauty of a math video. You can go at your own pace. Okay, so you can see I've already pulled down the coefficients of that quartic polynomial, and I already put 3 minus root 6 in as my multiplier. And let's just confirm that I get a 0 here. So I bring the 2 down, and I take 2 times 3 minus root 6. You pretend like it's in parentheses. You got to distribute it, so it's 6 minus 2 root 6. Add down. Now, when you add that column, you only add up the whole numbers. So you get negative 16 minus 2 root 6. Same things apply, right? We can only add and subtract like terms. All right, now is here where this gets tough because you have to multiply, and I'm going to do this on the bottom of the paper here. I suggest you do this on the side of the paper or on scrap paper. I got to multiply 3 minus root 6 times negative 16 minus 2 root 6. I'm going to call this an aside because it's the kind of thing you do on the side of the paper. Don't get frustrated. There are a lot of steps, but you can do them all, right? It's just a FOIL, like you're back in Algebra 1. First, outer, inner, last. 3 times negative 16, that's negative 48. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 root 6. The inside terms, 2 negatives give you a plus, 16 root 6, and on the end, 2 negatives would give you a plus. It's 2 times 6, which is 12. You know, those 2 square root of 6s give you 6, and the 2 gives you 12. And then you collect like terms, right? The negative 48 plus 12, that's a negative 36. And the 16 root 6 minus 6 root 6 is 10 root 6. So that's a lot of steps just to give you this value right here. So we're back into the synthetic division problem, right? In fact, you can tell that I may have to move some of these coefficients over, give myself a little bit of room here. All right, so if I add down 65 minus 36, that's going to be 29, and I bring down that 10 root 6. And then, hey guys, I got another one of these FOIL jobs. So I got to do 3 minus root 6. I got to multiply that by 29 plus 10 root 6. Hey guys, it's a lot of steps. Don't let your eyes glaze over. It's infinitely doable. You just got to do step by step, right? 3 times 10 is a 30 root 6. In the inside, negative 29 root 6. And on the end, a negative and a plus gives you a negative. And that would be 10 times 6, which would be 60. So if you collect the 87 and the 60, that's 27. 30 take 29 is 1 root 6. So it's just 27 plus root 6. So that goes up here, getting back into the synthetic division. If I add down, that's a 3 plus root 6. And then I got one more of these FOIL jobs. This one's going to be a little easier because you have a 3 minus root 6 times a 3 plus root 6. Those are conjugates, so 3 times 3 is 9. And then you'll notice, and I'll color code this, the outsides give you a 3 root 6 and the insides give you minus 3 root 6. They cancel out. That's what conjugates do. And finally on the end, a negative and a plus gives you negative root 6 and root 6 is 6. So this just gives you 3, which is what I anticipated because if you add up that last column, you get a remainder of 0, which we knew had to happen. So you're probably thinking, well, why'd you do that? Because I had to depress my polynomial. I had to go from a 4th degree to a 3rd degree. All right, now I'm going to use the miracle of the Apple Pencil. Move this stuff down below here just to give myself as much room as possible. All right. Now I have, that's actually a cubic polynomial with irrational coefficients, but we're not even going to write out the polynomial. We have a theorem. It's called the complex conjugate theorem. It says that if 3 minus root 6 is a solution, so is 3 plus root 6. Those are complex conjugates. Actually, those are just conjugates. They're not really complex numbers, but and you kind of know that has to be the case. You know, if you look at the quadratic formula, how it ends, it has that plus or minus. So that's where that comes from. So let's do it. Because I know if I do one more step, I'll be down to a quadratic and my life will get so much easier. All right, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 root 6. And here's where it gets nice. Those root 6's cancel, and I just get a negative 10 when I add down. All right, and finally, negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. Negative 10 times root 6 is negative 10 root 6. Those root 6's canceled again. I get negative 1. And finally, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3 minus root 6. That cancels out to 0, that last column. Not a surprise. And now I'm left with a quadratic. And because it's a quadratic, I'm in business. 2x squared minus 10x minus 1. Now you can try, and I'm going to give, you know what, I'm just going to erase this, give myself a little bit of room. You could try to factor that. That's not factorable. I'll save you the trouble. That 2 and the 1 on the end are not going to give you a 10 in the middle. We can use a quadratic formula. Hopefully you were pretty good at this in Algebra 2. Quick reminder, negative b. So it's negative 10 plus or minus the square root of b squared. That's 10 squared, that's 100. Ignore the negative, right? Negative 10 squared is positive 100. Minus 4 times a times c. Watch your negatives. All over 2 times a. Of course, that double negative gives you a plus 10. Under the radical here, what do we have? 100 plus 8, that's 108 over 4. You spend a lot of time in Algebra 2 breaking up radicals, right? We can do that here. You probably could do it on the side, but this is 36 times 3. And then finally, that would be 10 plus or minus 6 root 3 over 4. And I know you think you're done, but guess what? You have some, what do you have here? You have 3 coefficients that are all even, so you could take half of all those, right? If I take half of 10, I got 5. Half of 6 is 3. Half of 4 is 2. So that's 2 of my solutions. And don't forget what I used over here, right? These guys that I used in my synthetic division, one was given to you. The other 2 answers are 3 plus or minus root 6. All right, it's a 4th degree. We have 4 answers. The only difference is none of them are rational. They're all irrational. Again, these problems can be frustrating because there are a lot of steps. Try to be organized. Try to be careful. You have a couple fail safes at the end of every line. You got to get 0 or something went wrong. And finally, don't forget your math basics. A quadratic formula, it's been around for a couple thousand years, bails you out in every situation. So, know how to use it. All right, guys, I hope you found that helpful. See you in class.